dolls, it is she, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. I hope that you will stay, I hope that you will subscribe and continue on this journey with me. If you are not, welcome back. Thank you for your support and thank you for subscribing and thank you for tuning in. If you missed my last upload, I took a month off and then I came back, uploaded a video, and let you guys know that I got braces. As you can tell, I also have a new setup. Before I just had the backdrops, but I want to do something a little more intimate and just have just a natural setting here in my studio. And today we'll be talking all things makeup brushes, especially for those that are starting out, don't know exactly what brushes to get. You honestly do not need a whole lot of brushes to create a perfect flawless look. And just a disclaimer, I am not a makeup artist in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I am an accountant actually, and I just happen to love the art of makeup. So I don't have like a slew of brushes. I don't have hundreds of brushes. I just have my go-to, and then I have backups to those go-tos, which are the same brushes as those in case I were to lose one or leave one or a friend steals one. You know how that is. If you are just starting out makeup, if you're exploring makeup, if you're just trying to perfect makeup on yourself and just need to know what are those absolute brushes that I have to have, that way I'm not going out and spending a ton of money on a ton of brushes, this is the video for you. All of these brushes are extremely affordable. Some of you can go pick up in your local drugstore, like the E.L.F brushes, the Morphe brushes. Again, I think the most expensive brush I have is like $14.99, and the cheapest that I have here is like $2.99. They are all either from Morphe or from E.L.F Cosmetics, and I know there have been some recent scandal around Morphe. I saw some things going around on YouTube when Jacqueline recently did a favorite Morphe brushes video. A lot of people were saying that the brushes were crap. You know, she's paid, she's sponsored, but honestly, I'm clearly not paid, clearly not sponsored. I do not have a code. I have no problem with my Morphe brushes. My Morphe brushes have not shed, they have not fallen apart, and I mean, I put these things with a ringer, honey, especially when I am cleaning them, and I mean, I literally get no shedding, no nothing. And I think it also may be the line of brushes that you actually buy. They have quite a few lines. The majority of my brushes actually comes from the first Elite line, which has been discontinued. Then they came out with the Elite 2 line. The Elite line, I'm assuming that those brushes are probably higher quality, hence the name Elite. And these have been like solid. I got them actually when they were about to discontinue the Elite line, and they had them all 40% off, and I went in and snagged as many as I could that were still left. There were a few that were sold out that I was upset that I didn't get, but I am completely pleased with the brushes that I have. But I'm going to break it up into face brushes and then eye brushes and then a couple of detailed brushes. I have a total of maybe about 12 brushes here, and some of them you don't absolutely have to have. As I go through them, I'm going to tell you the ones that I think are absolute must and the ones that are nice to have. Okay, so starting out with my face brushes, my primary face brushes. I'm going to start out with my favorite foundation brush, and it is a Morphe brush. I tried to wash all of my brushes, but this foundation brush, honey, has been through it, and I really could not get my foundation brush, my foundation out of this brush. I washed it literally 4 times, and it's still slightly tinted from my foundation. But for my foundation brush, my absolute go-to is the E31. This is the Morphe brush from the Elite collection. Again, the Elite 1 is discontinued, but I believe they still have the Elite 2, so you can still go and get this brush. It is just a flat top brush, and I love it because it's dense, but it's not too dense, and it just perfectly blends out your foundation. I'm not a fan of a beauty blender or sponge to blend out my foundation. For whatever reason, it just does not work for me. This brush blends out my foundation and buffs it out. Liquid foundation that is, like nobody's business. And even with cream stick foundation, this also blends the foundation out really well, and this is my absolute go-to for foundation. Another brush that you should have in your mini collection is a good stippling brush. This is the E.L.F small stipple brush. I got this from my local Walgreens. I do believe that all the E.L.F brushes with the black handle, they're $3 in your local Target, Walgreens. See, now what I like to use this brush for is to spot conceal. When I go in with my concealer, it's easy to really blend that into the skin. Also, it's great for blending out primer on the lids just any really small areas. I don't really like to blend out my contour or my highlight with this brush. I find that this does not really do it for me, but to spot conceal and to blend out any primer over the lid, this brush is absolutely perfect. Next we have let's go to our all over face powder brush. Listen, this brush, I love this brush. This brush is bae. This is the E2. It's so big, it's so fluffy. They had one more exactly like this, but it was even bigger. Like the head on this thing, that's what she said. The head on this thing was redonkulous, but this one I found, and it was one just like this but smaller. I cannot remember the names of those brushes, but this brush I found was the perfect brush for setting my entire face. It just covers so much area. Again, it's not too densely packed, but at the same time it's a good amount of bristles in here. And it literally just buffs in any sort of powder to set the face just perfectly. I mean, this brush is huge. It's so fluffy. It's so soft. And I absolutely love it. This, again, is the E2 by Morphe. Now, another brush that I also like to use to really pack on powder, this is just kind of to dust over my entire face, but when I really want to pack on the powder, especially when I know it's going to be hot, I'm going to be sweating, or I know I'm going to get oily and I really want to just get that powder on there, this is the Morphe E59. It is a smaller, more tapered, dome-shaped brush. It has shorter bristles on the outside, and then it has longer, and it comes kind of to a point at the tip. And it's a lot more dense than the previous one. I really like this for really packing in powder. I tried this for a blush brush, but it was just too densely packed and it was putting it on too harshly, too splotchy. So I would not suggest using this at all for blush. It's just too dense. But for really packing on powder, this is a really great brush to really pack it on and really get it in there. And I use this often for that purpose. Now, as for to bronze up the skin, I'm not someone that really contours a lot, but I do bronze. And to bronze, there's two brushes that I use. One of them is the Morphe E5, and it is a huge fluffy fan brush. I saw this brush and I was like, I have no clue what I'm gonna use this for, but this is the most ridiculous fan brush and I absolutely have to have it. And then once I got it, I realized this is great for just really cutting those cheekbones. So to really contour and get into that cheekbone area, this brush is perfect for that. And being that it's fluffy, it not only lays it down, it also blends it out. So this is great for just kind of going around the perimeter of the face and really contouring and cutting out your face and your features. So I absolutely adore this brush. This brush gets a lot of use for just laying down contour. And then when I just want to bronze, I have the E.L.F complexion brush. E.L.F complexion brush, what am I saying? Not Morphe, or it's just E.L.F. The E.L.F complexion brush. And this one is a beautiful, fluffy, again, not too densely packed brush. This one does shed just a little bit. You might notice, I don't know if you can see, but there's a few hairs that I can see that's already about to fall out because they're longer than the other ones. So this one sheds slightly. It's not anything that's ridiculous. You can throw it away. I get maybe like 1 or 2 hairs every couple of weeks or so, and I use this brush every day to bronze up, especially during the summer. And this again is just the perfect, just fluffy brush to just get in and just really blow out that bronzer. So when I don't want to a harsh contour or anything, but I just want a nice bronze complexion, I use this to just bronze up my face and bronze up the perimeter of my face. And this is I literally use this every day. This one I don't use every day because I don't contour every day, but if I really want to cut and contour, it's this. When I just want to go in and bronze, is this one. This one really gets in, it really diffuses that bronzer and really lays it down nicely, smoothly, and it really blends it out. So this is my absolute go-to. I probably couldn't live without this brush because I could not live without bronzer, especially during the summertime. And for blush, my absolute favorite blush brush right now is the Morphe MB35. Now this brush, the bristles, the tip of the bristles are like a reddish color. I don't know if you can really see that, but this brush is angled. It's like flat and it goes up into an angle, but it's also extremely fluffy. So this angle just kind of lays nicely right up against your skin. So it's perfect for really laying that blush down, and it's so soft and it's so fluffy. And this is something about, I would assume that this will also be a good maybe contour brush because of the angle. I don't like to use this brush to contour, but something about the angle, it just literally applies my blush flawlessly, and it's just so soft, and you don't really have to do a lot. I'm not someone that likes to buff in my blush. I just kind of like to sweep it on, and this brush does the trick for me. Love it. And then for highlighting, again, it is spring, it is summertime, everybody wants that glow. This brush was raved about by so many YouTube gurus that I absolutely had to get my hand on it, and it is the Morphe M501 brush. And this brush absolutely did not disappoint. It looks like a large fluffy blending brush. It's not typically what you would think when you think of a highlighting brush. Most people think of a small fan brush. This brush has changed my highlighting game. It is just perfect. It just literally goes right there, glides along the cheek, right on the nose, forehead. It is the perfect highlight brush. It lays down just the right amount of highlight. Again, it doesn't make it look splotchy. It makes it look smooth, and it just glides it on. So this is the perfect highlight brush. If you don't get any other brush that I have mentioned today, get this brush and step your highlight game up. So I think that is pretty much it for the face brushes. I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now again, these two are both for setting powder, so you can get one of the other. If you don't like to pack on your powder, you can just go with the large face brush where you can just go ahead and blend in your powder. I use both of these for powdering, so you do not have to get both of these. And I did not forget about the under eye. Listen, you need a beauty sponge in your life. For your under eye concealer and highlight, under eye baking, you absolutely need some sort of beauty sponge. Now, you can go with the Beauty Blender, but this is a more affordable, beginner-friendly video. I chose to feature the Real Techniques beauty sponge because I absolutely love this sponge. I love that it has the flat edge here. It's perfect for getting right underneath the eye, flat and close to the lash line. It also has the curved edge, and then it also has the pointy edge, and then it's also really soft, really fluffy, and I absolutely love this. So this one I do believe retails in Target, in your drugstore, and Ulta for $7.99 if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me, I'll have all the prices on the screen. And a beauty blender is going to run you $20. So this is a more affordable beauty sponge, and it does just as well. I absolutely love the Real Techniques sponge for under eye baking and to set my under eye concealer. I don't use any other thing than this to set my under eye concealer. I find that anything else leaves it a little streaky, leaves it a little patchy. It starts to crease more underneath the eyes. You absolutely need some sort of beauty sponge, the Real Techniques sponge or the Beauty Blender. Or I heard that Morphe came out with a really great sponge, and Tarte. I haven't tried either of those, but this one, go to your local Target, grab this sponge if you don't do anything else. Again, this sponge and this highlight brush, if you don't get nothing else, you need these two. You need these two. Listen to me. You need these two in your life. Don't ask no questions. Just go get it. All right, so that is the face brushes. Let's get into eyeshadow brushes. Now, me personally, I'm not a big eyeshadow girl. I am a lipstick, eyelashes, eyeliner type of girl, and I'm usually good to go. My focus is usually on the skin, especially during the summertime, but there are those times when I want to amp my look up, obviously, and then I have my go-to eye makeup brushes. Now, when you watch some of these tutorials on YouTube, the eye makeup can get very complicated, and there are 15 brushes in, and you don't know where to start, where to begin. So for me, I think that you really only need a good blending brush, a crease brush, a flat shader brush for the lid, and then a detailer brush for underneath the eye. That's a total of 4 brushes. Now, I do have more than 4 brushes here just because I want to give you options, but you really only need, in my opinion, a solid 4 brushes to get a flawless eye look. You don't need a whole lot of brushes. You don't need all them brushes. So for me, I'm going to start with my favorite blending brushes. Now, my absolute fave, Bae. This brush is Bae. For laying down the transition, blending out that crease, blending shadows together, is the Morphe E23, another brush from the Elite collection. Again, sorry, the Elite 1 is discontinued, but they did come out with the Elite 2, and I do believe it's just a replication of the Elite 1, just in a different shade. I believe the bristles are like red or something on the E2 brush, but they pretty much have the same brushes. So the E23, and I'm going to try to make sure that I find the dupe for these brushes, being that most of these are from the Elite 1 collection, is discontinued, so that you guys can get a comparable brush to the ones that I am recommending. So this, this brush. It's so fluffy, it's so round, so dome. It just literally gets into that crease. It really blows out, blends out, diffuses that transition color. Absolutely do not use any other brush to lay down my transition. No other brush. This is my one and only. This is my ride or die blending. I love this brush. She's everything to me. Like, the bristles are long, and it again, it comes to like a domed tip, but it's just perfect. Like, now when I really want to get into that crease and at the same time still blend it out, I go to my Morphe M575, the Morphe M575. It is a thinner, tapered blending brush. Again, it has the shorter hairs on the outside, and then they have the longer hairs in the middle, and it comes up to a taper point. It's perfect for really getting into that crease and really laying down that crease color, but at the same time, it allows you to blend it out. It doesn't pack that color in because the bristles really aren't that dense. It's still a very light, very fluffy brush. Taper allows you to really get into that crease, but the shorter bristles on the outside allows you to also blend it while laying it down at the same time. So this is a great crease and like a blending crease brush. Absolutely love this. Another great just crease brush is the Morphe M433. This is a more round. The bristles are a lot shorter. If you can see here, bristles are a whole lot shorter than the Morphe M575, which is the tapered crease brush. This one is, the bristles are shorter, it's more densely packed, so it will pack on a little more color into that crease and into that transition area. So I absolutely love this. I don't use this one all the time, but this is the one that I reach for often. The E23 and the M575, I use these almost always with any eye look. The Morphe M433, I reach for it sometimes when I want to lay down and pack on a little more color into that crease. I don't reach for this one all the time, so I wouldn't say this one is a must, but it's a good one to have. Another great blending brush that I absolutely love. The bristles on this one is also long like the Morphe M575, but this one is a true blending brush. It's round, it's dome shaped, and this is the Morphe M441. Absolutely love this. The difference between this one and the E23, the bristles are slightly longer, it's slightly thinner. I don't know if you can see that. The bristles are slightly longer, it's slightly thinner. This one is more fluffy, as you can see, like it looks like it has more hairs in it. I will still prefer this one over this one, but if you can't get your hands on this one because the Elite collection is sold out or discontinued, then I definitely would suggest the M441 as a backup. So either of these for blending out that crease, blending eyeshadows together seamlessly, I will suggest either one of these. I feel like the bristles on this M441 they're a little more straw-like. Maybe straw-like isn't the right word, but they're not as soft. They're not as soft as the bristles on the Elite collection. I cannot remember the type of hair in these two brushes. I will link everything below in the description box, but the E23 is a lot softer. This one will pack on more color. The brushes are stiffer and they're a little more dense, so you'll get more color pay off with this guy. So those are my blending brushes, my crease brushes. For laying down color on my lid, this brush surprised me, and it's like the only brush that I use to pack color onto my lid, whether that is pigment, whether that is a foiled shadow, whether that is a shimmer shadow, whatever it is. And this is the brush that came out of the Urban Decay Naked 3 palette. I absolutely adore this brush for packing color onto my lid. Any flat shader brush would do. I'm going to try to find a Morphe or an E.L.F brush that's comparable to this one, because not everyone will have the Naked 3 palette and they don't sell this separately. But this is my go-to for packing any color on the lid. It's just perfect, both sides, and especially if you're working with glitter. The smaller, more concealer-like side of the brush is great for packing on glitter, and this is great for packing on any sort of pigment, any sort of color onto your lid. You really want to get that really opaque, the maximum amount of color payoff. If it's not with your finger, this brush picks it up more than any other brush I have ever tried with packing on color on the lid when you really want that color or that pigment to show up. This guy go to if you're not using it, because a lot of the brushes that come in these palettes are like throwaway brushes. You never use them. They're usually crap. They're not of great quality. This guy, I don't even use the palette hardly, but I always use this brush. So that's it for like actual eyeshadows on the lid, and then I have a few detailed brushes that I'm about to get into. So just to recap, I introduced three blending brushes for blowing out the crease and for the transition color and for blending colors together. Again, you do not have to get all three. If you were to get one, I would suggest the E23, but I'm going to find the comparable in the E2 collection to this brush. Absolute ride or die go-to blending brush. Again, if not that one, the Morphe M441. And then for the shorter bristles and pack more color, the Morphe M433. But these two, absolutely. And then for the crease, again, that was the M575 with the tapered crease brush that also helps blend it out. And then for the lid, packing on that color for the lid, I'm using the Naked brush. Again, I'm going to find something that's comparable to this. You just need a nice flat shader brush to pack on that color onto the lid. So you really only need, again, three brushes for your eyeshadows. If you don't like mixing and continuously cleaning, just get some backup. So you have two of these, and two of these. Now, last but surely not least, I want to get into a few detailer brushes that I think is key for anybody that is starting out. And I have about four here. I have exactly four here. One of those being brow and brow bone concealer, when you really want to carve out that brow and highlight that under eye, that brow bone. It is the Morphe M432. And it is just a flat concealer brush, and for me, I do not like an angled brush when it comes to carving out my brows. I really like just that flat, even, really thin concealer brush, and it is perfect. It gets right underneath the brow, and you can really cut it out and shape it exactly how you want and really clean up this brow. So that again is the Morphe M432 for really carving out my brows. Now, everyone needs a good angled brush. And right now, my favorite is the Morphe, again, from the Elite collection. It's the E11. I will find a comparable. I cannot say that enough. I know that this collection is discontinued, but we will get you another one, honey. Check the description box, or I'll probably just put it here on the screen. But this is the Morphe E11, and it is just a flat angled brush. Now, I use this for two things. I use this for gel winged liner, but I also use this brush for when I want to do a dip brow. If I'm using some sort of pomade or brow gel, this is great for going in and then creating your shape with your brow. So this brush, I would recommend it because it's 2 for 1. You can get it for your nice wing liner, for gel liner, but also for your dip brow. I typically draw my brows in with a pencil, so I don't use it a whole lot for my brows, but when I do go in with a pomade or with a brow gel, this is the absolute only brush that I use. And then also when I want an angled wing liner and I'm not using a liquid liner, this is what I go to when I'm doing my gel winged liner. And again, that is the Morphe E11. And then for the under eye, when you really want to go in and smoke out the under eye and pack on color there, this is the Morphe M410, the Morphe M410. I was watching someone's tutorials and someone suggested this brush, and I immediately, after I saw them put it to use, I immediately ran to Morphe's site and grabbed this brush. And this brush is excellent for the under eye. And then the absolute last brush that I have, here is another detailer brush, and it's a 2 for 1. It is the Morphe M516. And it's a two-sided brush. I don't know if you can see it, but this side has a very, very small, very precise, just very tiny, very precise tip. And then this it's like an oval flat shader brush, but on a very, very small scale. What I like to use this bottom tip for is if I want to put gel liner into the waterline. This is very, very tiny, and it's great for getting right into the waterline, or if you want to smoke out liner that you just placed there, but you want it very tight to the lash line and you don't want to really blow it out. This is great for going in and just smudging it right along the lash line, but not blowing it all the way out, all the way underneath your eye. This side, now, if you want to really go in and smoke out that lower lash line, if you want to smudge out liner at the top, this one this side is great for really smoking out that lower lash line, really smudging out any liner on the upper lash line. So this brush, again, you get 2 for 1, and again, this one was, I think, $4.99. You cannot beat that. 2 brushes in 1, and this is the very last brush that I have. So yes, that was it. Those are all of my must-have videos. I'm sorry if I talked extremely fast. I talk fast. If it felt rushed, I do apologize, but I will have all of the details below in the description box. Again, for any brush that is discontinued, I will have a dupe, a replica of that brush listed below, or I will place it somewhere here on the screen saying discontinued, but here is a comparable brush. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope this video was informative. I hope that hopefully you can now go out and get some brushes of your own. Again, if you're just starting out, you do not need a ton of brushes. You only need about 5 eye brushes, including the detailer brush, and about 5 face brushes, a total of 10 to 12 brushes to really do a full face, a full look, any look that you really need. These brushes will get the job done for you. Not saying don't go out and buy a whole lot of brushes. I'm not saying that at all, but just starting out, you're just getting your feet wet. You're just, you know, exploring makeup on yourself or on friends, or just trying to figure it out. And you're trying to figure out what brushes do I absolutely need, and what brushes are just fluff and extra and I don't necessarily need. These for me are my go-to and absolute need brushes, and again, they are all affordable. So I hope that you dolls enjoy. Before you leave, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Jump down in the comment section and let me know what other videos you would like to see from me, and I will see you dolls in my next video.